Cheers! Welcome to my channel. This is a beginning of the month for February tarot oracle reading. And Virgo, you are the star of this astrological insight. If your sun sign isn't Virgo, we still all have a little bit of Virgo in us. If you have your birth chart, which house is Virgo in? That's where this energy shows up for you. My goal is to provide valuable information to empower you. So just be aware that this is a collective or general reading. Parts of it may or may not resonate. This is also a timely reading, meaning if you're watching it right now, it's the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it's been some time since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then? That might give you further clarity on your situation now. We're going to begin with the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck. And we have the Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles is saying, hey, it's time to plant seeds that you can harvest in the future. And this is about learning the give and take of pentacles. So pentacles represent the health, wealth, happiness. It's oh, here's my little co-pilot here. Hi, Stella. Yes, she was sound asleep, but in the bedroom, but she always can tell if I'm doing a reading, and she's here. All right, you lay down and you be a good girl and you purr. That's your job. Yeah. Sorry, she loves the readings. I thought I might be able to sneak away. All right, so this is talking about health, wealth, happiness, about lifestyle, not just about money, although money is a big part of this. So if you look at this, you can see that this person is giving coins away to this person, but not to this one. Above this person, he has the scales of justice. And the scales of justice represent, if you look closer, this guy has something in his pocket here. So he already has what he needs, and he doesn't need to be begging. And so this is showing discernment. And so this is learning who to invest in and who not to invest in, how much to give, how much to take, that kind of energy. And that's for the underlying energy for the whole reading. Now we're going to get the underlying energy for the internal forces. So internal forces are what you have control over. If you are worried, it's when you're saying to yourself, what if I do this? What if this happens? What if I do that? What if that happens? What if that person does this? What if I do that? Kind of energy. And so the what ifs are internal forces, and you do have control over them. You don't have control over what other people do or say, or the economy, or a lot of other things, but you do have control over how you react or respond to it. So this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. So it's kind of interesting way to start the reading. The internal forces are about looking for the truth about the give and take of money and of other energy, your time, how much time you invest in something. And we have the Magician for the first card out. So when the Fool begins his journey in the major arcana, the first card he runs into is the Magician. And so the Magician represents an energetic upgrade. It's like, hey, probably this maybe isn't your first cycle here. So it's saying you've learned a lot on the last cycle. This is an energetic upgrade from the last cycle. There's infinite potential here. You're able to bring your thoughts and your energy and what's above down below. So this is talking about bringing your thoughts down to the earth and being able to make it an investment that pays off in the 3D. And that you have all the tools you need at your disposal here. You can build a beautiful garden. Good luck, go on your way. That kind of energy. And then we have, so we have the moon coming in. We do have the full moon on February 1st. If you're interested, I did just post a bunch of readings, like for each sign, one reading for each sign regarding the full moon. It's in Leo. And the Leo energy, this full moon coming up is in Leo. The energy of the Leo full moon is really wanting to express yourself. And so Leo is a natural born leader, but across the wheel from Leo in the horoscope is Aquarius energy. And so the sun is in Aquarius right now. So the sun is reflecting anything hidden on that you may not be able to see on the Leo moon. And the Aquarius energy is saying, you can't take the time to look after yourself. You have to look after the group. You have to look after your family. You have to look after the community. You have to look after the world. And Leo is saying, no, I really need some time to myself, and I need to express myself. In matters of romance, it's kind of like really feeling like you want to be able to be you, and be able to express your own creativity. And so that's kind of the inner battle that this full moon is bringing up. So the moon card in general brings up hidden illusions, secrets that you maybe need to have a look at, something that maybe your spidey sense is saying, hey, there's something wrong here, but you don't quite know what it is. So that's the emotional waters that this lobster's crawling out of, the emotional waters here, and going on his path. And he's got to pass this domestic dog and this wolf coyote, whichever you see it, and get to continue on his path between these two pillars. And of course, it's a dangerous thing to go between these two. This represents your domestic side, and this represents your wild side. So you might be wanting to take a walk on the wild side is the energy that's coming up here. And then we have the Queen of Swords coming in. So the Queen of Swords, she's sitting on her throne, and she is considered probably the coldest of all the queens. She's been there, done that. She's bought the t-shirt. She does not want to put up with any bullshit. She has her sword out in her right hand, and she's ready to use it. But her left hand, she does have her left hand extended, saying, I'm willing to receive the truth, and I'm willing to plant pentacles to harvest later. And I'm willing to share it, just if it's fair kind of energy. So she also has her head above the clouds, so she has clarity on her situation. And she is, she wants to be part of the community, etc., but she is kind of gotten cold to the whole situation, to love, to whatever. She's been through a lot, and she just doesn't want to have to ever go through it again. So that's the kind of energy. The swords represent your thoughts, your mind, your ability to discipline your mind. If you discipline your mind, then you'll have freedom, because if you could sit in for hours doing the what ifs, what if, and get caught in that loop and never get out of it. And so this is now talking about her discernment. And this may be, because this reading this is the underlying energy for the entire reading, it could be saying in the past, maybe you didn't have the same discernment that you did, and then the truth came out, and you lost some pentacles because of it. And now you've learned discernment. Once you learn discernment, the universe doesn't give a lot of money to people who don't have discernment with money. Usually, that's why you'll sometimes see people who it's not uncommon at all. People who win the lottery, who get a lot of money in one lump sum, how they're broke shortly after. I think the statistics are huge, for people who win lotteries. And that's just because they've never had that kind of money before. And so they don't know how to deal with it. And they end up losing most of it or all of it. And then some of them even end up in debt. It's really, if you look it up, it's pretty, the statistics are pretty wild, really. And so this pentacle, this reward coming in, is for being able to learn to have the discernment. Once you learn to have the discernment, then the universe is willing to give you more money. The more money you have, the more responsibility you have for yourself, your family, and your community, and that extends out, into the world and the universe, depending on how much money it is, basically. And so this is saying that it's not just money, but, in our day and age, money matters a lot when it comes to your lifestyle, for sure. So this is saying you have the discernment now of where to invest your time, who to invest it with, how to invest it, how much to pay others, That's the kind of energy. Then when you get a larger sum of money and time, and because money does buy time, you're going to be able to handle it wisely. And this is a reward for following your North Star, staying on your destined path, and not being tempted to go off it. So you pass the test here. You use your discernment. And then we have the King of Swords coming in. Now this is interesting, because the Queen of Swords is the most likely to be divorced, especially if the King and the Queen of Swords come up together. They're most likely a divorced couple. And you can see right away what's going on here. They're fighting over the money. So that's interesting. So the King of Swords is known for having a really strong business acumen and being able to, generally this is a professional that uses his words to earn his living, like someone that's maybe a politician, a lawyer, it could be an influencer on social media, a speaker. This could also represent a surgeon, that kind of energy. So this could represent someone who does research. This could be a minister, like in government, politician, someone who uses their words to earn their living. So the King of Swords understands that talk is cheap, and that actions speak louder than words. Oh goodness. It's interesting. That's one form of release, because I forgot to mention that with the full moon on February 1st, it's a really good time for you just to let go of anything that is like getting in your way to be able to receive this, because now it's saying you've learned the give and take. You have the truth of the matter here, and apparently I feel like you may be someone who's in the middle of a divorce and the money is tied up here, but you now have like the discernment, but you need to let go of like any anger or whatever it is that's holding you back from resolving this, so that you can move forward in your life. That's what it's saying. So the King and Queen of Swords, as I was saying, are most likely to be divorced, and they can be generally like this. This energy can also represent a lawyer. So it could be the Queen of Swords has hired a lawyer to deal with this, or this could be the couple fighting over the money, which I feel it could be both, actually. And what if the husband is a lawyer? That kind of energy, or the wife. Because another thing to point out is these are archetypes. So this could be the husband in his feminine energy, and this could be the wife in her masculine energy, as well as the way they are presented here. And then, okay, so what this is basically saying, I feel like the Seven of Cups is about opportunities in love. And clearly, it feels like there's no love lost here. But once this is cleared up, there's going to be all these opportunities for each of you. And this is talking like you're almost like a black hole, because this money will come in, and perhaps you have to sell your property or whatever. And so you'll have a whole new start, like a whole new beginning, which is probably why you're on your, the beginning of a new cycle is the energy here. And so here we have 7 cups, and these each have a different gift in them. And it's up to you to decide, like, which of these cups am I going to choose? Like, which of these opportunities am I going to start with? It's important to recognize, like, these are opportunities that are being handed to you. And it's up to you how many you take on, which ones you do. There are going to be challenges within these gifts. The possibilities are most likely to be hidden in challenges, because the universe likes action. But this is saying, once you resolve this, there's opportunity, like, for both of you, to move forward in a strong way. And so, yeah, it's pretty clear cut here, but we're going to look here. So Virgo energy is very, likes things in order, and to be very clean. And, cleanliness is next to godliness, that kind of energy. So Virgo energy is also about analytical critique, which can be extremely helpful. So it's like you use your discernment. The Virgo energy is actually all about pentacle energy, and it's interesting because the only pentacles we see is here. So and then this one of a chance of a reward once you resolve this energy here. And so this is you, how you see yourself right now. And so you do see yourself on a new journey, and you feel like that there's going to be opportunities once this is resolved, I feel. And there's, about your abundance and self-worth, I think that you feel that there's something fishy maybe going on, or you want to make sure that everything's right, which is why you hired an expert to look into it. And this is also saying that, that you can't wait to get out of these emotional waters and be able to go on your path. And, you know, you want to take a walk on your wild side, I think. I think you've been in a domestic situation and you're ready for some adventure, which would be normal. And then communication from your early life. So I feel like this is saying that you have learned discernment when you were younger. Your parents taught you the value of a dollar, how to make money, how to use your time wisely, made sure that you were on a good path. But the Virgo energy, the analytical critique can very easily turn to anal criticism. There's a fine line between the two. And of all the signs, Virgo has a tendency to use anal criticism on themselves first and then apply it to others. And others aren't used to it. But this is kind of the way the Virgo mind is, everything in order, and they'll notice if there's something slightly out of order. And this causes quite often in a lot of Virgos an all or nothing kind of attitude, which is kind of like either, you'll notice this with Virgos, either their house is spotlessly, meticulously clean, or it's a big mess. It's like there's no in between. And so this energy, I feel like you're kind of struggling with that right now. That feeling of everything's falling apart or everything's coming together. So there's, Virgos have a tendency to really beat up on themselves and then take that out on others without even realizing it part of the time. So make sure that you're using your discernment in how you look at things, and get outside, an expert that understands divorce law or whatever this is going through this. I think it's pretty clear that that's what it is here. And make sure you find someone that you can handle the paperwork, etc., so that then you can just move forward and now I'm ready to get this done kind of energy. And we have emotional foundation. I feel like both of these people need this to be resolved so that you can move on with your life. Because when you're in divorce like this, your money's tied up, and sometimes for years. And it really has a negative effect on your ability to produce. And this is talking about, in this house, creativity, romance, and children. So if this is your partner if this is you, and this is your partner in this house, and then it's kind of like, everything is the children are being affected, your romantic life is being affected, and all your creativity, because you can't move forward and invest in things until this is taken care of. That's true for both of you. And then this is affecting your health, your daily routines, and the way you live your life, your lifestyle. So this is really clear cut. This needs to be resolved and be taken care of as soon as possible. And then the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck for the external forces. Okay, so we have the Empress here. So the Empress represents all four queens rolled into one person. This is someone that has the qualities of all four queens. So she understands the discernment. She understands, she's loving, she's like the Queen of Cups. She has a lot of love for her family, and even she could, there could still be love between these couples. They just can't get along. That's kind of energy. And, if there's children, she loves her children, etc. She's most likely to be a traditionally married person. And so this, again, is pointing to divorce. And she also has the qualities of the Queen of Wands, which is, being really sexy and a natural beauty, and being able to use her intuition and her logic together. And then she's also got the qualities of which one have we missed here? The Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is known for being resourceful and able to handle her responsibilities, investments and everything. So I feel like this situation has taught you to level up to the level of an Empress here. So the Empress generates wealth, health, and happiness, the Pentacle energy, she's sitting on her throne. The wheat here at her feet represents that she's planted the seeds and she allows it to grow, but she doesn't worry about it. And if something comes up, she uses her intuition and her logic to be able to find a creative solution to her problems. And so she's known just to generate. Someone who can really produce a lot of energy, and it's like she's like a magnet. It just comes to her. She's considered to be pregnant with possibilities, and it's kind of funny because it's sitting right here. And so all these possibilities are available. And if you look at it from that perspective, because I'm getting the number one issue here is feeling like you're losing so much because of all the division of property, etc. But in actual fact, you've gained so much from the situation, because now if you win the lottery, you'll know exactly what to do with that money. And if you've never been to court, if you've never had to deal with paperwork like the divorce paperwork and all the emotions around that, it's a major learning curve. So this is saying, hey, I've been there, done that. That's the Queen. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. My head's above the clouds. I know what I want. I want this much. I've hired someone to do it. This is also the spouse is saying the same thing. So it's kind of like in between, and they're both waiting for this to be resolved so that they can, move forward. All right. It's pretty straightforward. There's conviction beyond a doubt. This is the external forces coming in. So the external force is when, okay, I've done all this and I've kept my shift together, and now why is this taking so long, and there's something not quite right here. And this is conviction beyond a doubt. You know what you know. That's where this Queen is right now. And she wants to know exactly the facts, and have them all in a line. That would be typical Virgo energy, I want to know exactly what I have. I want to know how it lines up. I want to know the details, that kind of energy. I want it to be clean cut, that kind of energy. And this is talking about having one foot in one world and one foot in the other. If you notice, this person has a boot on one foot and a shoe on the other. So, people, when they're getting divorced, there's usually some battles, and I feel like these are actions that you've been taken back and forth. But this is representing the external forces they're going to stand their ground and get what they deserve also. That's the energy coming in. And then we have, yes, lovers here. So this could represent you, how you were when you first got married. You don't get married thinking you're going to be like this. You think you're going to beat the odds. That's the energy. And lots of people do, half. So here it is. This is saying possibly you didn't know there's a cloud in between you. You didn't know each other as well as you thought you did. And, you thought it was going to last forever, basically. And so that's, there's a lot of disappointment when there's divorce. And it can be really challenging. But this also can say that maybe one of you or both of you have met someone else now, and you want to move forward so that you can have a relationship with someone else. And, that's the part where I was saying neither one of you can really move on until this is resolved. And you need an energetic upgrade here. Yeah, I was wondering if this was going to come out. So on the other side of this equation, if your lover cheated on you, your spouse cheated on you, this is representing the third party energy. And so these three people are toasting each other, but they're really not toasting each other because no one's looking at each other. They're more like all happy the divorce is final. That's the energy right there. And it's kind of funny, like for the first time ever, they're all in agreement. Yay. We can all move on. So I feel like there was there was some infidelity, whether it was you or your partner, and waiting for this to happen so you can move on. And so this energy, the thing is about this, is if you don't look at like in many cultures, like in Europe in particular, if you're toasting someone and you don't look at them in the eye, like these people are doing, it causes 7 years bad luck in your love life. That's the common suspicion. And if enough people believe it, it can come true. So if you're toasting someone, look them in the eye. But I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of defeats the cause, or the purpose, I mean, because just celebrating in this way is, without looking at each other, is causing, like it could cause a cycle to start again kind of energy if you're superstitious. And whether you're superstitious or not, lots of people do believe that, and then it affects everyone on some level. I think it's funny. And we have the star energy. I can say that I'm divorced, and I have my divorce went through on Independence Day. I'm not from the United States, but I celebrate Independence Day because it was such a relief not to have to deal with lawyers anymore. That kind of energy, you know. And so the star energy is about, this is like you were born to be a star. You were born to have this happiness, both of you. And it's really interesting because this is talking about her right foot is in the universal waters, and she's pouring into the universal waters. And then she's taking that and pouring it out onto the earth. And this is, her knee is down on the earth, which is saying, in body language, your knees are talking about your ability to support yourself. And she's pouring this water out onto the earth to bring from the stars down to earth. And the thing is that the pentacle has 5 points, and these are 5 points. So this is talking about being able to bring, as this magician is saying, from heaven, the star energy, down to earth and live the life, the best life you can live, because you're following your North Star, which is your purpose in life. And that's represented here. And this is not like, like it's on its way here. If you've been in this energy, it's, eventually it gets sorted out. And then we have, okay, the reason why this is taking time is because I feel like this represents the thoughts of the two of you, and you don't trust each other, and especially, I guess, after this kind of energy. And someone is being very shifty here. This is the shift disturber card. This could be the third party energy, or this could be one of you two hiding money, basically, or hiding something. And that could have been this relationship, but it's out in the open now. Or if it wasn't, it is now. If you didn't know about it, I would look into it. But this is really shifty energy because he's a walking contradiction. He's looking backwards at these two. Look, this is the past. And then he's sneaking out of the village with 5 swords here. And why is he sneaking out in broad daylight? He's a thief, but not a thief of the night. He's a thief in broad daylight. And look how he's holding the swords. Like, who holds swords like that? It's so dangerous. Like, I mean, the slightest slip, if you trip or whatever, you're going to end up really hurting yourself and others. And he's on his tiptoes, and he's not watching where he's going. So this is like talking about like blatantly in daylight being a thief kind of energy. So I would check into the money situation, and maybe you are, and that's why it's taking so long. And you might be wondering, like, as much as you check into it, it probably, you're going to find that there's missing money or whatever, then it causes this to be tied up even more. So it's kind of a loss for everybody if someone's doing that in this situation. But okay, this is supposed to be like this because I'm just making sure I have my spread right. And then, yeah, there was something fishy in your love life, and you could sense it. Something was smelling from the other side. If you take a fish out of water, and like this Page of Cups represents, like, the pages would work for the king and queen, and they would, they'd be 7 to 14 years of age when they first started working for the king and queen, and they would deliver messages in between the court, do small tasks, and then, when they got older, if they could afford a horse at 21, they could be considered for knighthood, basically, if they were good at doing what they do. Each of them has their own element, and this is the element of love. And so, this is kind of the energy of someone who knows that there's plenty of fish in the sea, but he's focused on this fish. And so this is someone, I feel like there could have been some online something between you and, like, your partner and someone else kind of energy. There was something fishy here. Sometimes this represents someone that wants to ask you out on a date or something, because they're focused, they know there's plenty of fish in the sea, but they notice you, like they're looking at you. And but sometimes this can mean there's communication now coming in regarding this situation. So if you were suspicious that someone was sneaking away with some money, I'm getting that you are correct, and there was something fishy going on, and it has to do with this third-party energy, because perhaps you were getting ready to sign the papers, and then your intuition was saying, wait, I'm going to hire someone else to take a look at this, which I would highly recommend if you're in that situation. But this is saying your internal forces knew there is some truth you needed to get to the bottom of. So that's the energy we're looking at. Let's clarify this with my oracle. If you're enjoying this reading, please do give it a like and comment. And I really appreciate it, because it helps me build my channel. I'm really happy to, I'm really enjoying the process of this. The deck I'm going to clarify with this is something I've been working on since 2007. And in 2020, I'm an artist, and I completed all these paintings, 64 of them. I have a website, talesfromthevector.com, TAILS, and in there, on that website is a gallery of my paintings. And the paintings, as I said, I started in 2007, and some of them were great big dragon paintings, like a lot of them, 30 or so are big paintings. And so it took me a while, and I was putting teaching seminars on energetic upgrades as I was doing this, and I was taking these cards out to the psychic fairs. But now I didn't ever have it complete, and now it's complete, and I have the time now. So this is the energy that wants to come out to clarify. So I'm now working online with you, so I have the paintings ready to be printed for the cards, but I need to have the information that goes along with them. I do have a lot of the information. I've been working on it for, like, as I said, since 2007. It's from the Intergalactic Federation of Light, and I've poured the energy of my that I've learned along the way. I've had some amazing mentors, and I'm now getting ready to bring that information out, but I want to play with it for a while here so I can pick up what information here. So in the description box below, I will put the cards in the order they appear here, and then you can, if you're interested, you can go there and take a look at the paintings. It may give you further insight into your situation. So the card that wanted to come out to clarify is dissension. With friends like this, who needs enemies? So you've been swimming with some sharks here. Maybe you're aware of that. This energy is someone, I feel like this third party is someone you know, and maybe that's what you found out. Or that's what you're going to find out, past, present, or future in this reading. So there's been some people around you that you consider to be friends know something that maybe you don't know. And your spidey sense is telling you this. So just, if you've already looked into this, could be past, present, or future. You may have looked into this. You may not have yet. But if you're suspicious of something, then look into it. But hire someone, like, if you can afford to, hire someone that can look over the paperwork and everything and make sure everything's right. If you need to get a second opinion, do so. And then, there has to be at some point, there has to be some resolution here, or this could drag on for years. So you just need to come to a decision kind of in your head. Okay, if I have this much, I can move forward, and the universe will bring justice to the situation eventually. That's how it always works. So allowing yourself to have that ability. Yeah, this is saying the high priestess energy. The high priestess, when the fool goes on their new journey, the first thing is the magician, and then the second card is the high priestess. And so the high priestess is always using her intuition as well as her logic. And look at it, sitting right there. This is the answer to your question. Ask a logical question, and if you expect a logical answer, you're going to get another question, because logical questions produce, and like that's when you get caught in this what ifs. But the external forces are what the EF, like what happened here, because it doesn't look like this is correct. And at some point you have to say to yourself, using your intuition, okay, is it something I really care about? Is this just a need to be right? Or is there something really here? Because you could go through this and totally understand that this person is cheating you, been hiding money, whatever, but you don't care. I mean, you care, but you would rather be free so that you can move on with your life than to be fighting with them for another 10 years over something, that you have to weigh the scales of justice here for yourself, the give and take, what's more important to you, and that's up to you, basically. We have the Hierophant. So this is traditional structure. So this is saying, this represents a judge, someone like that can sign the paper and say this is decreed to be done. And this is how it's going to be done. And so sometimes you end up if you end up in court, it's very expensive. And then you're always losing money. If you're talking to lawyers, they're not your friends. They appear to be, because there's someone you're going to and you're probably really emotional and you're like you want to pour your heart out and this is what happened. They've charged by the minute. So find a friend to pour your heart out to and stick to business when it comes to your lawyer. It'll be cheaper for you. That's the traditional structure of our legal system. And if you can resolve it without having to go to court, and it's over you can be in a position where, hey, I know that this person is ripping me off in some way, and I know they've cheated on me, but I haven't even told them that I know that they've cheated on me, that kind of energy, then you've already made that decision. You just want to get on with your life, and you're going to be like the Empress, and you're just going to attract to you what you need. And the universe will eventually even this out. But this is saying, like, the high priestess follows the cycles of the moon to be able, like the full moon, like on the 1st, is releasing. And then on the 17th of February, there is a new moon, which is exactly on the same day that we have the energy of the Chinese New Year. And we're leaving the year of the snake. So you want to shed what no longer belongs to you on February 1st. We're in that energy right now, as I'm going to be loading this up right away as soon as I do this reading. And I think it's the 28th or 29th right now. And so we're in this full moon energy. Release whatever you haven't yet. And like emotions, whatever's holding you back. Because right now we're in the year of the snake. And the snake sheds its skin to go into the new. And then we're moving into the fiery horse energy. And the fiery horse energy is about wanting new, wanting adventure, wanting to, in matters of love, if you found someone else, wanting someone that, being passionate and really loving with all your heart, and that kind of energy. The danger of the fire horse energy on the 17th coming in is losing control of your temper or doing impulsive things that you really will regret later. And it's also like really going after things so hard that you burn yourself out. Like, because it's kind of like if you've ever ridden a horse, the way you control a horse is the bit in its mouth. because they have very sensitive corners of the mouth, and that's how you steer a horse. But if a horse gets the bit in its mouth because it gets spooked and it goes for a run, you could go really far off the path, and this could cost you years of your life. So rein in your emotions, let go of what you need to, and resolve, like 2026 is going to be different. I feel like this energy is really beneficial for you to understand this, because it's a it, like, to be totally fair in these situations, it probably won't be. Having said that, life isn't fair, and you have to decide to what degree do you want to, like, argue and fight over. If it's something fundamental and it really matters, of course, then you're going to make sure. The Libra, this is the scales of justice, and that represents the sign of Libra, like marriage, being mature. So this is a perfect time. Let go of that energy. So when the New Year, Chinese New Year comes in, if you've already blown all your resolutions for, the New Year, now you can move into this energy and say, okay, here's a second opportunity here. That kind of energy. And just understand also that in 2025 was a year, 2 + 2 + 5 was a 9 year. So it was actually, when we moved into 2026, we were actually leaving a decade of energy behind and moving into a new decade of energy. 9 is nine is the number of completion. So you may have noticed this. Like, sometimes you won't notice the difference. Like, oh, Happy New Year, you don't even notice. But this year, a lot of people are noticing the difference, because it was the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new, and this is being represented here. So this is your opportunity, and I just brought this up, and look what comes out, Libra energy. This is when you're mature enough to be able to be married, and you understand the responsibilities, and you can anticipate your journey moving forward. So this is talking about really using your discernment over what's worth your time and energy here. Lots of times these situations are unfair, and it's unfair, and there's lots of money being hidden, but it's like, how much money, like, you could fight for another 10 years for that because you want to be right, or you could just move forward. And sometimes you have to decide where are you in that situation. There's destruction here. So sometimes when people are getting divorced, it can be like this situation where you don't give a shift. I want exactly, what I'm supposed to get. And the energy there is going to, it can really hold you back, or it could be something that you need to do. It depends. So understand that sometimes when people's emotions run high, they'll destroy everything, and they don't care. They'll destroy themselves and your children and you. And you have to make a choice. Which way are you going to go? It's because all the fighting is not going to benefit anyone except the lawyers. And then we have anger. So yeah, it's like, really curb your anger. Anger is a gift that keeps on giving. So if you stay angry about it, then it feeds more anger, and then that feeds more anger, and it goes down the family line. And you might there is also something as righteous anger. If you can make a clean cut and move forward, and it doesn't, and you're out of that energy now, then that's one thing. But if it's continuing, which it sometimes does when you have children, it can be really challenging. So you're going to have to decide all the time, is it worth investing my energy in, or am I just going to move forward and get on with my life to the best of my ability? A lot of times life isn't fair, but sometimes you can be fair to yourself. There can be a lot of drama, and especially when there was infidelity, then you're like, here I was being true and everything, and this is the reward I get, and it can cause a lot of this, but really in the end, it doesn't benefit anyone. And then we have, keep your ego in check when you're in this kind of situation. And also here we have the star. So this is saying, if you decide to take this route where you just like, okay, I know this isn't a fair agreement, I know that there's money being hidden. I know that there's a lot of shift behind the scenes here going on. But I'm going to trust that the universe is going, and God are going to look after me, and I'm going to move forward as long as I have enough that I can do so. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to let it go to the best of my abilities. Sometimes that works really well, and sometimes the other person continues to want to fight. So it just depends. Like, you have to decide, you have to do what's best for you and your family, basically, and end the cycle. So by getting neutral to it. And this is when you know what you know, what you know. And you know, okay, this is the course I'm taking, I'm moving forward, this is what I'm doing, and just move on with your life. That's the energy. Everybody's, you're a star. That's the energy here, and you want to step into that energy. And so, that's the best that you can do in a situation like this. We have the Leo energy coming in also. So the Leo energy is kind of, and this is sitting in transition. So this is that impulsive energy. You can either be a leader, and that's what this moon is about. Are you going to look after your own needs so that you can be a strong leader? Or are you going to look after, like, do what everybody else says you need to do? You have to decide who you're going to look after right now. And if you don't, when you're on a plane and they say, hey, if the oxygen masks come down, put yours on first. That's because most parents will automatically put the mask on their baby first, if they're on a plane. And if you faint, then no one's going to be able to look after the baby, and the baby's not going to be able to help you. And so it's that kind of energy. It's being highlighted here at the beginning of this month. And then we have Groundhog Day on the 2nd. And actually, this reading is one of the first I've done. This is now 6 readings I've done. And out of the 6, 5 of the readings have the 9 of Swords in, which is like Groundhog Day energy. And it's Groundhog Day on the 2nd of February. So you don't want to do another cycle, is basically what that's saying. But when I have the horoscope signs coming in, I want to make it clear, I'm not saying a Leo did that and a Libra did that and that kind of energy. I'm more looking at the state of being of the signs on a general level. And also there's like a stage of life. And so it's not really about age, it's about the energy that the person is feeling at that time. When you're in situations like this, it can bring up emotions from your childhood and most likely will. And so it's kind of talking about this energy here. If some of these represent your situation and okay, you do have a person that's in that, like that's how it is, then trust that for yourself, use your intuition. But that's not the intention of my reading here. So I want to make that clear. I'm not saying a Leo is the one that did this or a Libra is the one that did this. This is saying you're supposed to be a responsible adult ready for marriage. That's the energy that I'm trying to that's what's going to benefit you the most. And this is saying if you don't have confidence in what's happening, don't get all arrogant and get in a big fight over something that you wish you wouldn't have gotten in a fight over, because this adding anger to it is not going to help. And then we have jealousy. And if someone, if you're in a relationship and you realize your partner has been cheating on you, that's hard to take. And especially if your friends knew about it, didn't tell you, your family knew about it, didn't tell you, or God forbid one of them is doing it, which happens a lot of the time. So if that energy comes up, you have to make a decision. Would you rather be bitter, or would you rather I'd rather be better than bitter. And, generally, if you'd rather be better than bitter, you're better off. And we have the battle star. And this is talking about having the courage to move forward. And that's about, this card for me represents, do you want to, you don't want to be in a position where you have to fight for everything in your life, because it can become like a bad habit. So what you want to do is go inward again. And a lot of times when you do meditation, it reminds you to breathe. And that may sound funny. Well, of course I'm breathing or I'd be dead. But sometimes when we get into really anxious ways, we can breathe very shallow and we're not pulling in the oxygen that we really need to. And then this is falling. Star. So this is about healing your heart. This is your heart chakra. And this is 2025. This was that cycle, 10 years going on. Think back. What was happening? Who were you with? What were you doing in 2015 to 2016, like on New Year's Day? Because that's the cutoff point between these energies, and it was a decade long. That may give you some insight. But this card is a dragon flying through the sky, and she's saying, falling and failing. She's upside down. So falling and failing in love is a matter of I. You have to love yourself first and foremost, and you have to love yourself enough that you don't want the drama. You want to get it as clean cut as possible as you can. And this is about releasing your heart and being able to open your heart up again, to be vulnerable enough to be able to love again, basically. And the most important love, this is again, like at this time, if you need to look after yourself, do so. It's not selfish. It's what you need to be able to do to get through this. And then we have scotoma. So yeah, there was blind spots here. So quite often there is. It's kind of the energy where everybody knew, but you didn't. And see, that's the part that people don't realize. Like a lot of times people think they're fighting, that a couple won't stop fighting, but the energy continues because the family members knew about it, didn't say anything. The friends were one of the ones that he was having an affair with, didn't say anything. The other friends didn't tell you. And you find this out as you're going along. It's really challenging to heal. Like you're not just healing from the relationship that you're ending. You're healing from all the other relationships that you have with other people that you feel betrayed by as well. So that's the energy, and it's a lot to heal from. But I have confidence in you, Virgo. You can do it. If you've enjoyed this reading, give it a like and a comment. And if you enjoy the energy of my channel, please do consider subscribing. It would be my honor if you did so. I will be back with another reading. I'm actually going to do a reading for Valentine's Day, I think, a bonus reading. So, sorry, Stella, I have to wake you up. She's been purring away, raising the vibration here. Bye for now.